It might seem a bit strange to start off a video with a time-lapse to sunset, and it is a bit unorthodox, but a lot has happened. In the middle of the pandemic and the restrictions that are in place, both Kylie and I left Sydney to be one step closer to living on Wilsen Farm.
3, 2,
Well, no, we're on.
1.
It's been a while since the last Wilsen Farm episode, and I guess a lot has changed in the world.
Yes.
Like everyone, we've been impacted by the pandemic. We're working from home, and in fact, we've moved out of Sydney and we've moved to Goulburn.
Yay!
Yay.
Closer to the farm.
So what's been happening with Wilsen Farm and us since last year, or the beginning of the year?
Like you said, we moved.
We moved.
That's huge.
We got
I
a new car.
job.
Oh, we got a new
car.
The old Pajero, as much as it was loved, was starting to cost us a lot of money.
Yeah.
We replaced the radiator, we replaced 1,000 tyres on it, and finally the ECU gave in and we sold it literally the day before we moved.
It worked out really well.
It worked out really well. So we got the slasher on the tractor, and it's a real pain in the neck to change the slasher for the post hole digger or the auger. What we'll do is we'll slash the paddock where we've got the tea trees planted, and then after that we've got the slasher on the tractor, and it's a real pain in the neck to put the auger on, the post hole digger. And what we'll do is, because of all those sifting growing around the tea trees, once we get the tractor sorted out, we will slash all around there and then put the post hole digger on. It's really heavy. We've been walking around Wilsen Farm and we found this tree, and it's full of this viney stuff, and none of the vines are touching the ground, but the vine is thriving, so I presume it's some kind of parasite. And so I presume it's a parasite. And because of that, we're going to chop it down and burn it. Let's go.
It's embedding itself into the tree, so that's actually growing into the tree there.
So it's definitely a parasite.
It is definitely a parasite, and it's all over. Like there's bits here, bits down here as well, embedding itself into the tree. So one thing that we're really excited about is actually purchasing our first beehive. And then of course we have to buy a nuke of bees with a queen bee. That's going to be pretty exciting. We'll probably end up putting the beehive down, I guess, where we've actually planted the tea trees, because there's a lot of tea trees just growing wild down there as well, which is really, and hopefully if the first beehive goes well, then we'll be able to purchase another couple of beehives. So the idea will be to probably have 4 or so down the front of the farm, and then a few scattered up through the bushland areas, and probably over that direction, because it goes then into just bushland for, you know, acres and acres and acres, and bees love that. So another thing I wouldn't mind doing, and Jason and I have talked about this, is just having some goats, because they're very cute, but I just want to get sort of half a dozen or so goats so we can fence off parts of the tea tree area and have the goats in there, because they eat the sifton, which is great, but they won't eat the tea trees. I don't know whether we'll be able to do that this year because we're not actually living here yet. Definitely when we move in next year. Once we're here, I'd really like to get some goats, and then I want to become a wildlife carer as well, so that's the plan.
I grew up here and left when I was 19 thinking I'd never live back in Goulburn again. As it turns out, the things that are important to you when you're 19 are different to the things that are important to you when you've got a lifetime's worth of experience under your belt. And just like that, I'm back where I grew up. We'll run around the sifton that we've planted.
That we've planted.
The sifton that we've planted. So we're...
Tea tree.
Thank you. I'm not doing very well today. I know.
You need lunch.
I'm very hungry.
Great. So Jason's doing a behind the scenes.
I recorded everything, but it didn't work because I had the camera on time lapse. So